experts that know what they're talking about? Do you not know what to do next to make that happen? Well, today we're going to talk about best practices for content creation in 2021.
Welcome to the Big Stud Sales Podcast.
No, we've already ran the intro.
No, I think so. You know, we're sitting here at the WinRate Education or WinRate Consulting / Education
Company retreat
kickoff?
retreat,
yeah. Like, you know, we're just going over goals and planning and strategy and all that. It's not my big thing, but we're trying to talk about like what are some different ideas and ways to grow the business and this and that. And Mike was asking a couple questions of certain things that I've seen and what some of my marketing guru coaches and all that I've seen. And we're just talking about the landscape of content. I think unless you've been living under a rock, like content works by growing your business or to grow your business. Like producing more content is a good thing to grow your business. If you don't believe it, look at Mike's business. Look at my business. It's literally that. And I can give you 15 other businesses that do the same thing that grew in 2020. Yeah.
Call Ryan, we're marketing today.
But yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, content is working if you do it the right way in a specific way.
I mean, let's be fair. Content works if you even just do it a way.
A way.
Right? Like, it doesn't need to be perfect.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be right by our standards. But, like, the only thing you can do wrong on content creation is not do it at all.
Right.
If you're not being visible, like, if you want to say 2021, start.
Yeah.
If you've been delaying, if you've been dragging feet, if you've been not making action on that, start creating content and you will be in a better place. Period.
Yeah.
Like, there's no alternative perspective to that.
Yeah.
If you're not being seen, becoming known, liked, and trusted through content on social media, you are losing.
Right.
Period.
Yeah. And so when we were talking about this, I think what I wanted to try and give you guys, you listeners, you know, you guys are in the home services industry. Content is typically not the first thing you think about when you're growing your business or how
If
to
you're a
grow your
WinRate
business.
client, it is.
We got a light that's going on and off.
Oh, yeah?
We're in a video, so if you guys want to watch this, go over to Mike's YouTube channel, subscribe.
Definitely subscribe. We should
We should be
don't
at
be late to
1,000
the party.
subscribers by
Don't
now.
be late to the party. We're crushing it on YouTube right now.
Leads us into. Let's lead it into.
YouTube.
Yeah, so types of content.
Great transition.
Yeah, man, we're transition experts. So
I think we have tested a lot of things on YouTube somewhat effectively.
I have. So I would say I've actually.
Oh no, we haven't, just you?
Well, I'm saying I've done it more because I have
Across the
work
board.
with so
Yeah.
many more people. So like I test a lot of things with you, but then I test it with other people as well. So yes, we've tested on your account, but I've done that times like 7. So like I really know it works.
Yeah.
But
And how it works with different people, because
Yeah.
I'm different on camera than other people
correct.
too.
Yeah. So I think a big thing with YouTube is you've got to understand when you're coming up with your content strategy, what the platform is there for, how people use it, and who's on it. So like
I mean, that's across the board, right?
Yeah.
Like any platform is like who's there and how are they using
Right.
it and what are they
Which
there to
then
get.
means the messaging needs to be a specific way,
Right.
the content needs to be a specific way based on how that platform
So
is
how do
engaging.
people use YouTube?
Yeah, typically it's longer form videos. How-tos are great on there. Tutorials are great. You guys are in the home services industry.
How to do something.
Teach your people the most simple requests that you get.
Think
know?
DIY. Think things you don't want to get
How
called
to
to go
replace your filter in your house. Like all of these little simple things that like nobody should pay you to replace their
do.
filter.
How to check a breaker.
Yes.
You know, how to replace a faucet even, like simple kind of stuff.
And then the next level of that is like how to do some of the things that like they can't do because they want to learn and see how you're doing it because it's really cool. It's interesting to them. So, you know, it's longer form. And when I say longer form, it's like 3 to 5 minutes for people that are starting out. So if you get a small, young, immature channel, you know, under 1,000 subscribers or really under 10,000, like you need to be short, 3 to 5 minutes. You don't have the clout to go longer.
You haven't built a following if someone says, I'm going to listen to whatever he says for as long as he's going to say it.
Right.
You ain't Joe Rogan, everybody.
Yeah. So, you know, think about that 3 to 5 minute range. Teach somebody something. Be super educational. The other style that will work is the vlog style where you're going in and you're literally doing like, think day in the life of fly on the wall.
Like, hey, I'm on job site today, and I'm going to show you how to do this.
But you've got to cut it all together. It's a full
Right.
day or a full
Yep.
week or whatever.
Yep.
That's harder to edit. There's a lot more that goes into it, but that is another style because people want to see that.
What point does it make sense for somebody to bring in outside videographer, professional help?
You're
like,
making money.
Like from the content or like your
No,
business?
your business is making enough money for you to say, if I were to invest in this,
I would make more.
I have 6 months to invest in it, not make a single dollar, and it's not going to hurt my business.
So this gets asked a lot, and I've seen this in a couple of different forums and conversations. Like, what percentage of revenue should a business spend on marketing? I know you're going to say, well, it depends on their goals, and I get that. But like, is there like a standard range? Like, I've heard like 3 to 5% is pretty typical.
I usually say if you're not spending 3% on your marketing,
You're not serious about growing.
yeah, you just have a lot more potential than you think you have.
Okay.
So, you know, and that could be by, like we don't spend much in ads. We just started like actually really trying to run ads, and it's not for a goal.
But I spend money on the content creation.
Your money is spent on the content creation. So we're looking at that. Like, are you spending 3% for content creation? If the answer is yes, then like, oh, I'm only spending 1. I'm getting a deal. Well, maybe you should run ads, or maybe you should look at doing more content because that means you're making more money, which means you can then reinvest. I think we're pretty dang close.
I'm probably closer to 5%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this is also, we know it's what your long-term strategy
I didn't
is.
start there though.
But like
I started at probably
right
less than that.
My wife's law firm is on the opposite side of things. Like, I'm telling them they need to spend more money.
Yeah.
Now, they can't handle more business, so it makes sense for them not wanting to spend any more money. But
Right.
like, if you come to me and say my goal is to grow, you have to spend more money for
Mm-hmm.
it to make sense. All right, so YouTube, what do we want to dive into next? Let's go podcasting.
I think that's the guaranteed thing everybody should start this year. I mean, it's very inexpensive to start. You don't need a lot of equipment to pull it off. You just need to get on and start talking. You can do it anywhere. The topics can be never ending. The routine doesn't need to be as aggressive. Ideal, like one a week is ideal.
Yeah.
But you do 1 a day, 1 a week,
Yeah, I mean,
2 a month, like.
you know, home service industry, like, what can you do? What about like referral partners that you can bring on?
I think just like you're doing your concept for this year with the video stuff is interviewing local businesses, but I think podcasting is simple. You show up with a microphone and you record a conversation with a local business owner, a restaurateur, maybe a sub of yours, a vendor of yours.
I mean, and the thing is, if you don't get another person, like we've got, you know, you and me, we talk, you know, we can bring on guests, we talk, but you could literally tell stories. You know, hey, I want to tell you today a story about a renovation that we did, and we're going to go over the problems that we ran into, how it all came about, the solutions that we did to solve those problems, and how that client's now benefiting from it.
Well, it also depends on like what are you trying to accomplish, right? Like what's the goal of the podcast? Like for most people, it should just be brand awareness. So put out content, like look at your ideal client, say what do they want to hear about. It might have nothing to do with your business.
It might be best coffee shops in your area.
It could be like
It could be wine.
It could be wine. It could be cigars. It could be cars. Would be a big one in that world.
Right.
Like one of my guys, one of my clients is a garage door company.
He's doing cars,
He's doing Moto Mondays,
Yeah.
where he's like interviewing local people about the stories of their really cool cars. Well, guess what car people have?
Right.
Fucking garages.
Yeah.
Duh.
And money to
do it, right?
Yeah.
So like that's a really cool, unique way to approach it.
So my wife's law firm, real estate attorneys, we're basically going and visiting local businesses and new events, new businesses, new things that are happening in the area. We're going to put that on the podcast because we want the realtors to share it.
Yep.
Because we want to give them the content to let people say, hey, if you're moving to this area, this is what you need to be checking out.
But I think from that perspective, like a contractor really could just educate homeowners on what the process should look like.
Yes, and I would do that as a guest on other podcasts because here's
that's what I was gonna say,
here's
like-
the other thing: you don't have to start your own.
Correct.
You can be on as many local podcasts as you could possibly find.
I mean, 100%. Because here's the challenge of running a guest-focused podcast.
Getting guests.
And
getting them scheduled.
It's hard, right? So if you want to get super value by just capitalizing on people's audiences that are already built, go be guests on people's podcasts.
You could literally do 1 to 2 podcasts a month just in your local area, being an expert in whatever it is that you do, and they would love to interview you because they need guests.
So find real estate agents, insurance agents, mortgage brokers, other builders or contractors. I mean, just search Google or search local podcasts, or like go on one of the local Facebook groups, say, hey, who has a podcast looking for guests on? You'd be amazed how many people are like, dude, I need guests for my podcast. I'm running out of options. Or just maybe if you listen to podcasts, start there. If you have a podcast you like listening to, find them on social media. Hey, we're Big Stud Sales. DM us.
Yeah.
Hey, like, I'd love to be a guest on your podcast.
Like we talked about for Big Stud Sales. Hey, we want to bring on more guests. You have to meet our qualifications, but we would love to bring on some guests if you meet those qualifications.
Yeah, we just got to make sure that they match what we're trying to talk about and visuals.
Yeah, we got a goal and vision. You've got to meet the goal and vision.
That's it. But like, we're looking for guests, right? Vermont and the Carolinas. That's a guest-centric podcast. I'm always looking for guests. Every episode is an interview. Again, there's requirements and stipulations, and you may or may not meet them for anybody you reach out to. Like, it's hard to get on Joe Rogan's podcast, right? It's not as hard to get on Vermont and the Carolinas. Right. But if you don't ask, no one's coming to you and being like, you look pretty cool. You want to be on my podcast? Yeah. That's not happening. Right. So go out and like, hey, like set a goal. I want to be a guest on one podcast a month this year. Yeah. And you'd be amazed at how fast your brand grows. So
when we're talking about WinRate Consulting, like podcast and YouTube are what we call, or what I call, your macro platform. That is your main platform. That is our hub. So
it's our core content.
We create our core content for those two platforms. Typically I say one, but like Mike's business is really built around content. Like that's what drives everything. So when you're creating your content, coming up with this platform, like you've got to find this core platform that you're going to invest all your time and effort and content into. Yeah. And I always say, like, start with one, man. Like, if you're doing zero, start with one, because you're going to get overwhelmed real fast. You don't need to do 75 different ones.
I think, like, basically start with a platform. Like, become Mr. YouTube, become Mr. Podcast, become Mr. Facebook.
You could be the Facebook handyman.
Dude, I started on Instagram only. I was Instagram only when I started. I didn't have a podcast, I didn't have a YouTube channel, I had none of that. I got good at Instagram, grew a big enough following that it made sense to give them other content. Right. And like, I'm not on Clubhouse yet. I'm somewhat getting there.
You're on there. You're dabbling.
At this point when this comes out, I'm probably dabbling a little more than I am now. I'm not on TikTok. I'm not on LinkedIn really. Like, we post there, I'm not active there.
Yeah, so let's just kind of dive into some of these other platforms.
So Clubhouse, let's go to that next.
Yeah, Clubhouse audio only.
It might not even be around when this comes out.
Yeah, you don't know.
Right now it's January 11th, so
who knows, man?
Who knows where it's going to be in the next couple weeks?
Basically like audio only chat groups.
Live audio group rooms.
I foresee, if I were to predict what's going to happen, marketers like me are going to ruin it for other people, because they're going to just get on and sell, and there's going to be no value.
That's going to be annoying.
That's my guess.
Or it's going to cost money to get into rooms with the high-level influencers.
But basically, like, where I see this as value is try and get in there and provide value. The other side of things is you're getting value in education and teaching from people that might not be qualified to teach any of it. So just be wary on it. Like, I'm not sold on it yet. I foresee it not making it, but I've been wrong many times.
If I'm going into Clubhouse right now, I'm going into other people's rooms. I'm attempting to raise my hand to answer subject matter expert questions that I can answer, and then a call to action of, hey, if you want to hear more, my Instagram link's in my bio, go click there and shoot me a DM. Yep. That's happening very effectively. People are growing their following on other platforms, whether Twitter or Instagram, substantially. So I would say if you're going to do it, get in a room, raise your hand to answer a question, add as good a value as you can. Don't be fake. Don't tell your whole fucking life story. Just get in, answer the question. Hey, if you want to hear more,
quick, concise.
Connect with me on Instagram, and you'll gain a following. People will start DMing you there.
So Clubhouse, moving on to Instagram. Like, where's Instagram here in 2021? I'm personally, like, I'm seeing a lot of my marketing folks move away from Instagram. That's not their main platform anymore. It used to be. A lot of people put a lot of effort and focus into their Instagram. And what we're starting to see now is the engagement's gone down, except in stories.
The behemoth of Facebook has come in and made it more monetarily driven. Like, if you're not paying the beast the money, you're not getting across the bridge.
Right. And so, how can we use this? Stories have been really, really effective. We just made a whole story plan that is not around the business.
I'm pumped about this.
I think it's going to be really cool. I'm actually excited about that. for an Instagram strategy. So, just trying to get people engaged on something.
I use Instagram as my primary conversation platform.
And you're seeing that as well. So people are much more likely to DM on Instagram versus anything else.
Significantly more
so
likely.
That's why we see stories being more effective.
Yeah. But I'll have people coming from like the YouTube. Like I've closed a client a week ago that found me on YouTube in the YouTube notes, found my Instagram, came to Instagram, followed me, and DM'd me.
Yep.
Like that's the perfect client
I had
life
someone
cycle
last week
for me.
DM me through Instagram that was like, "Hey, I saw this hashtag that you had posted in, and I'm doing a video shoot here. Would you like to come and shoot for me?" I said no, but like
they're still finding you. Yeah. So I would say like use Instagram as your primary engage. I do a lot of outbound engagement.
There's going to be a lot of
Instagram.
Conversation happening.
A lot of
Instagram.
you're commenting on, you're liking, you're sharing, you're DMing, you're engaging in stories. I use Instagram significantly for outbound, way more than anything else.
Facebook business.
No, I'm talking.
So Facebook business, as a business account, the only reason we have it is if we wanted to run ads. We have not ran ads on Facebook.
You got to have an offer worth running an ad behind.
Yep. So, unless you're making an offer, a true offer, I don't think it's very beneficial to run too many ads unless you're doing brand awareness. But groups, Facebook groups are still very, very powerful if your group gets engagement. Once again, it goes back to that engagement. You just need to create a community where people are talking.
Right.
That's where we see Facebook as being valuable here in 2021.
I use my personal Facebook page significantly for personal brand development, like putting out a lot of my concepts, thoughts, feelings, emotions. Like I get pretty vulnerable on my personal page. But then I would say, like, from a business perspective, I don't think anything's as good as a Facebook group right now.
Right.
I mean, like, just in theory, a year ago for the Super Bowl, Facebook groups had a commercial. For the Last Dance, for the Michael Jordan special, Facebook groups was a sponsor. Like, Facebook doesn't put $20-30 million behind something that's not driving people in that direction.
Right.
So I would say get engaged and own your own Facebook groups to grow a cultivated audience that would have a need to refer.
If you're a remodeler, do like Charlotte Remodeling Network if it's not there yet, or
Charlotte Home Improvement Network. Someone I know started. He's got 1,500 members now in this first 6 months, and I'm guaranteed he's gotten deals from that.
Yeah.
I guarantee it.
Because you want people to ask questions about remodeling their house.
But basically, it creates a curated audience that nothing else can do. No ad can do anything better than someone raising their hand and saying, I want to join that group because I'm interested in what they're talking about. Right. There's no other form of advertising that can be that effective with it. So I love Facebook groups for that.
Yeah, I don't
Construction selling. If you're not in construction selling, get in there and just search construction selling on Facebook. It's the worst Facebook group name ever, but that's what I started with, so here we are. Yep. But I'm up to like 1,500 members in like the first 15 months.
It engages pretty well, and now we're also adding a live Q&A office hours.
We are going to add live Q&A in there.
So there's a lot that we're trying to do with that too.
So you got to add value. I mean, like content in general, it's got to be value add first, value take second.
Correct.
So like the YouTube, the podcast we do, the Facebook group, your content, it's got to be focused on like, what does my audience want to hear and what would they benefit from learning from me? Yep. If that's the only question you ask yourself, you'll be way better. Because these days of like, look at this before and after, and we're running a special this weekend. Stop doing that shit. It does not work. It does not add any value to your audience.
Yeah. Next one, let's talk about LinkedIn. We started it, Gary Vee was big on it and getting everyone excited about it, so people started using it. Marketers and B2B people just, man, they are annoying. I get a DM on LinkedIn every day about, Ryan, I want to tell you how to get 75 new leads from your business. I'm like, you don't know anything about my business.
It's the worst
I don't need leads. I don't want leads.
It's the worst cold DM atmosphere for sure. Yeah. Like, people go to LinkedIn
to look for jobs.
To look at their coworkers, to find prospects, a lot of salespeople on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
So I post there, but it's pretty much a regurgitated post. Like Instagram, I create content for Instagram that automatically goes to Facebook and LinkedIn. And that content from Instagram is from my core content,
or
podcast or YouTube.
So like the way we're using it a lot is like we'll create a YouTube video around a topic, we'll get that to Mike's team, they'll then repurpose that YouTube content
to
put
drive
the
engagement to the
information.
YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And then, so here's something about Instagram. Like whatever your platform is, you want to have a link tree or something on that platform to drive them to additional, like for Instagram, if you go to @WinRate Consulting on Instagram, there's a link in my bio, that's my Linktree account, and what Linktree is basically a link that brings you to check.
Yeah, it gives you a bunch of options to send people to links.
To other links, to your other places, your website, your offer page, your other content. So if you're gonna pick one. As you add, make sure that you talk about all of them on all of them. Basically, like on the podcast, we talk about the YouTube channel. We talk about like this episode obviously is all about all of them. But normally we try and drive people to one or the other.
And that's why you have a main platform. Like, where is your hub? That's where you're driving people. The other ones are secondary, which would then drive people.
So what are your thoughts on TikTok? I mean, obviously you engage. Show me that little dance you did earlier. What was your TikTok dance?
Nah, I'll pass on that one. TikTok's weird. A lot of my marketing folks have now gone away from Facebook and Instagram, and they're not doing it anymore, and they've either gone down TikTok or they've gone down Google, which YouTube and Google go hand in hand. So they're kind of branching off and going away from Facebook and Instagram and going into TikTok. I haven't messed with TikTok from a business perspective.
I have not been on it at all.
I have a video with 700,000 views.
The grill one?
Grilling meat.
Dude, son of a bitch.
I mean, it's stupid.
Was there a WinRate logo on the meat? There should have been a WinRate logo on the meat.
But I think there's value in TikTok to gain a following faster than any other platform.
But what do you need to be putting on TikTok to get? Like, you got to be like doing funny dances and skits and funny faces like that. Like that ain't for me.
Financial people. Now, also, I mean, remodeling folks or how-tos. Can you do a how-to in 60 seconds of how to change your air filter, how to change your water filter? Because
is the audience on TikTok wanting to see that?
I think if you're doing something unique that people need to learn about, and you're doing it in such a simple 3-4 step process, and it's like, do this, then do this, then do this.
I can't imagine that's getting engagement on TikTok.
It is though.
Really?
Yeah. Like, it does pretty well.
I've let my audience down. I have not dove into TikTok to learn it. I'm not going to. So.
And I don't know how great it's going to do from a. I think the problem is you're not going to get like local business necessarily, but I do think it can help grow your other stuff.
I mean, if you're using it as an awareness model to grow engagement on other platforms, those other platforms are better suited for your audience.
But if you've got a personality,
I have not heard one home service company that's effectively used
I've
it.
got a couple ones that I've seen of like the process, or like a time lapse of like things getting built.
Yeah.
And it's cool because like most people don't know how the home service industry does what they do.
And it's literally just there to grab attention.
Right.
All right, what are we missing?
I think that's it, man.
What about Google? I mean, everybody talks about Google reviews and Google platforms and Google ads and Google guarantee.
I still don't care about SEO. Get as many Google reviews as you possibly can so you're ranked in Google Maps. That's the #1 deciding factor. When you type in painters in Charleston, South Carolina, the #1 factor is going to be how many Google reviews you have. So get positive Google reviews.
Is that something that I should be more focused on? Because I have not done something like that.
But I don't think they're typing like business consultants, Charlotte, North Carolina, for construction.
So from a maps perspective, it's going to be irrelevant.
You have a service that is in a specific area.
Okay.
Real estate attorney, Mooresville, North Carolina.
So specific geographic location, go get as many reviews as possible for that location so that when someone searches up near me, they come up.
You don't care about being #1 in Google anymore because people don't really go too much further than the maps because that's what pops up #1. So there's a thing called like the Google 3-pack, which like helps your maps. There's some other deciding factors that go into it, but like Google reviews, absolutely, hands down, #1 most important thing that's going to help you get ranked higher than maps.
All right, so I'm listening to this podcast right now, Ryan. I'm going, God, they're right. I've been listening to them for a year, and I need to start doing something. What is the next step that they should take?
Press record. Pick your macro platform. Pick what you want to hang your hat on and say, I like consuming content on this platform the most, so I'm going to create content for this platform the most. I think my people are there, and go do it.
Don't hesitate. My first YouTube videos are trash. My first podcasts are trash. I struggled very hard early on with putting out quality content. It took 2 years of Ryan getting better to make me better before we got where we are today. So I'm with Ryan. Go take action.
All
Go
you
hit
gotta do is press record.
Post it. Look, in 5 or 10 videos, no one's going back to watch number 1 anyway. So get out there, do the work.
Do the work.
Win fast and win often.
Ooh, a little finger gun action.
Here's finger gun action.
We got a little dark in this one.
The light's just like behind my head.